Welcome back to Gun-N-To-Go. We've got a good video for you today on this PepWave device. This is going to be the installation video from 10 months ago in April of 2021. So it's going to be very important to stick around to the end of this video so you can see our 10-month review now on using this setup to help us keep things going around here with school and work. We'll also briefly talk about in this video the Blink security cameras that we've put in, as well as up in the corner there, you can't see it too well, but the LevelMate Pro, which we highly recommend. That thing has been really awesome. We're going to probably have to cover those in 2 other videos, kind of talking about them, showing them and explaining them, but 10 months of use, those things have been really awesome and glad we added them. So let's go ahead and dive into the PepWave install back in April of 2021. Brandon from Gun-N-To-Go here with another installation project video. This one might take me as many days as the last one with the converter took me. I hope not, but right now we have got 50-mile-an-hour winds outside. But I am happy because right down here I've got some goodies that I've wanted to do for a long time. Now this package, not this, but the antenna and the PepWave are from Mobile Must-Haves. Now I did pay for this unit. You know, with this channel brand new, we don't get the freebies. But I went ahead and got their Ultimate Road Warrior bundle, which is the Max Transit Duo. And this is to help greatly improve on the interwebs. We gotta have the internet when we're out on the go, because with me working full-time, the wife working full-time, and homeschooling 4 kids, the internet is extremely important. Like, we shut down without it. So we're gonna be putting this solution on and hopefully also doing Starlink in the future. But Starlink, you can't have that out when you're cruising down the highway or boondocking at a Walmart parking lot or something like that. You don't want to set that dish out. So I think even going forward in the future, you are going to want to have one of these units in your rig, especially if you're a full-timer or you are just on the road a lot and you need to work and the kids need to do school. So we're going to go ahead and install this. There's a few things that I'd like to cover first with this package. First off, what you'll get here with they have different packages. You can check out their website, but this is their top of the line package, the Max Transit Duo. And this is a top of the line unit here from them. It can handle up to, on this side, I got to take that out, 4 SIM cards, so I could actually run, you know, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and have another one in there. There is 2 modems in here, so you can have 2 running at once. There is 7 antennas basically with this. There are the cellular 1, the 2 antennas rather for cellular 1 and cellular 2 over here. Like I said, it's 2 modems. You've got the GPS, which is really cool because, you know, you can look up on the app and see where your rig is, which, you know, is more or less, I think, for people that install these on corporate units or something, but for us, it's nice if it ever gets stolen, heaven forbid. And then you've got the 2 Wi-Fi A and B there, so this will help you also grab that real shoddy internet that you can get at the campgrounds. It usually doesn't go out more than a few hundred feet, if that, from the building where their router is. This might help extend it across the campground to allow you to use their internet a little bit, which isn't very good for speeds, but, you know, for the kids connecting, schoolwork, things like that, it's usually good enough. This is also and this can plug into AC, so you can just, there's a cord in there, you can just plug that puppy straight in. But I got the DC kit here, and I don't think there's a charge for this. It's part of the package you select. But this is going to be the way, in my opinion, you're going to want to do this, because then when you're rolling down the road and or you're boondocking and you don't have shore power, you're going to be able to run this unit all the time right off of your 12 volt. And so you're going to want to definitely, in my opinion, hook it up that way. Now, one last thing to mention about this does come with all 7 antennas. They're down in this box here, and one-handed I don't really want to dig through there, but if you've seen a home router, you've seen those antennas. They're a few inches long and they look just like something that would be on your Netgear or Linksys router, and they're inside the box here, and you can just use that. And that would already be a huge improvement, they say, over not having this unit at all. So you could just plug those in, you could plug this into AC and be done. Within minutes, be done with the whole project, and then you're already up and running. However, that obviously is not going to work as well as far as getting reception, because you're still trying to pull that signal from within the you know, camper or RV, motorhome, whatever. And that's primarily part of the problem that you get with these cell phones, is they have a very small antenna somewhere inside, and they're in the unit. So that's where you're going to want to think about an exterior antenna that has a much, I mean, here's a an S8 Plus, a larger phone, you know, and you can just see, I mean, it's no comparison. And again, I don't know how big the antennas are in this, but I know they're not very big. So you can see this huge unit here. It's not too heavy or anything like that, but it's got a lot of surface area. There's 7 antennas in there, and this will be up on the rooftop of the unit, outside, up high, to help pull that signal in. And there are options that you can do to put these up on a pole. That's a really neat way to go if you want to run that pole option, which I am going to probably do on the next unit. But we also, I should back up and say there are 3 options with the antenna. This one is the cheaper option, but it also gives you the most options as far as how you can mount this, because there's this piece of rubber here that pulls out, and you can actually take this off and you can run your cable down here. So if you wanted to stick this to the roof and have the wires running somewhere else, you could actually do that. The other options, the other antennas rather, they don't have that option, and you have to drill where you mount it and so on. So you can look up Mobile Must Have. They've got great videos on all this. I don't want to get too much into the detail, but the reason I went with this antenna, to be honest, when you're spending this kind of money, it was $100 difference between this and one of their new top antennas they have out. That antenna required you to drill right there where you mounted, but the main reason is it came with 15 feet of this cable. This comes with 6 feet, and I was worried that I was going to have, this is where I'm going to mount it, I was worried about having 15 feet of cable spooled up and taking up my precious space up here. In hindsight, that wouldn't have actually been a problem now, because where I decided I'm going to go ahead and mount mine, there's actually a big pocket in here, and I could have actually had probably 20 feet of cable hiding away in there. But I didn't know that at the time. This thing was in storage an hour and a half away when I ordered this. And you know, I was trying to get these things figured out through the winter time. Yes, the winter. And we wanted to get things moving. So the other reason is this unit, unfortunately, is going to be up for sale in the next year or two. I hate to say it, breaks my heart, because I put so much time and money into it. You know, our kids are growing, getting bigger, and we're going to have to upgrade. And when we do upgrade, I'm going to put the top of the line antenna on top of that. I'll spend the extra money, but this antenna, this will stay. I am not taking this back off. Once this is up, this stays with the unit. I'll be able to just simply unscrew it, and I'll be able to take my unit, because I'm going to keep this, and whoever buys this can do nothing, or they can go out and buy one of the packages that are offered, and they'll already have the top antenna with the 7 features, the 7 antennas inside of here. They'll have that already permanently mounted on the rooftop. So it'll be a really good deal for whoever buys this unit. Everything will be set to go. So we're going to take that with us. So I have to keep that in mind when I'm putting this unit in, is I need to be able to get the stuff out when I go to clean everything out. What I came up with, and some things you're going to want to think about when you're mounting this, is preferably you're going to want it to be towards the front of the rig so that you can get Wi-Fi signal off of it in your truck, in your tow vehicle. If you were to mount it all the way in the back, then you probably won't reach it up in your truck. You might, but you may not, or it may not be a very good signal. And if that happens, you're gonna have to, you know, put a Wi-Fi extender or something like that. You're gonna have to run, you know, Cat 6 up or something, and then have a unit like that up at the front. that's not hard to do, but it's just something else that you'll have to install. So and you can look up videos on YouTube of how to extend your Wi-Fi. You know, it's the same as what you do at your house. And this does, by the way, have on the back, it has the LAN and the WAN on the back, so you can actually plug this in and bring internet in from somewhere. But you can you could put a Cat 5 or 6 cable in here and run that straight into a desktop or laptop or any other device that takes that, and have a hardwired connection, which I am definitely going to do. I'll be keeping a 25-foot Cat 6 cable that I have already. I'll be keeping that in the unit here, because as much as I don't like having a cord running around, we want the option to be able to plug hardwire and just cut all the wireless out between our computer and this unit. So it may be something that we don't end up using very much, but I like options. Options are good. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing with this. And like I said, we're going to mount ours up towards the front. There's not a lot of options. This cabinet above here would be an option, because honestly this is probably going to be the easiest option, because the fact that I could just go straight up through here and we would have a fairly open spot on the roof up there. The downside is we have an air conditioner here, and that's something you need to be in mind of, is that these antennas need to be, they say, 18 to 24 inches away from anything else on the rooftop where you could get interference. So that's other antennas, you know, air conditioners, maybe even those max vents that a lot of us run, you know, the big vent shield, which you can't see right there, but we've got them on this unit. You got to keep it away so that that thing is out in the open and not getting blocked. But I would imagine that antennas, your TV antenna, would probably be the biggest culprit for, you know, causing that kind of interference. And unfortunately, we, like most of you, have that issue here with our antenna right there. So it's not too far from where I want to do this install. But again, I don't have very many options. This one is probably one of my best, but you know, this cabinet is where we keep a majority of our dry food, and I don't want to chew up space by having the PepWave up there, but it is an option. And I suppose I could even mount it out here, but then we'd have to have some kind of a, you'd want to disguise the hole in the roof there in the junction, and I just don't want all that ugly stuff sitting up. Not that the PepWave is ugly. I mean, it's very beautiful. I just don't want to look at it on the outside of my cabinet. So we're going to go ahead, and I've kind of put a lot of thought into this, and I've decided that I'm going to mount it right here, because we've got this nice channel right here. And I was looking and I was kind of thinking, you know, they must have some wires in here, because it's pretty hollow in there. See? Not as hollow as my head, but it's pretty hollow. And so I thought that might be a really good option. And I know I've already got 12-volt power up here because we've got our panel, which in the newer units, they have actually moved all that up on the side of that cabinet there. So if you have a newer unit in the last 2 years or so, you might want to really think about using that cabinet, because you're going to have 12-volt right there already. But our unit, they had it down here. We have a nice cutout, and when I took this out yesterday, what do you know? There's that huge channel back there, and I don't know how well it's going to show up in the video, but we've got a huge channel back there that we can run these wires. And again, had I known this, that I was going to run this in there, I probably would have went with the newer model antenna. They said there's an improvement there, but again, and you know, it is what it is. So this antenna still will work very good and is a great solution for a lot of people. So now what I've done here is I've got these handy little junction boxes. The screws are clanking around in there. These are just a little plastic box you could get right on Amazon. And what I'm going to end up doing is running my 12-volt power in here, and I'm going to hook everything up in power-wise to this box that I'm going to mount up there. So I've drawn a black line there so that I know that I need to put my hole right here. And what I'm going to do, because I've decided for sure I want my box mounted there no matter what happens, I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole here luckily it's in the inside of the cabinet, so I don't have to worry how ghetto it might look if I do change my mind. But I'm gonna put a decent sized hole in here, and the plan is to mount the PepWave right underneath it, underneath that hole. And so I'll have outside, or I should say on the inside of this, up top, I am going to drill my hole through the roof to mount the antenna up there. And I measured it, I'm 4 feet away from the TV antenna right there. And the other issue, you gotta look at this. I noticed that we've got the AC duct, and I measured this all out, measured how wide it is. It comes out to about here. It's about 1 inch out on both sides from the vent, and it's a big flat duct, and it runs right through here and into the bedroom vent. So I know I've got that to miss, but I measured it all out, and it comes out right to here. So that'll work out, should work out pretty good. Drill a hole through here, and hopefully I can get a long drill bit up, just kind of poke or anything, maybe a long screwdriver, and just put a dent in the ceiling or something so that I can go up on the rooftop and drill my hole down. But I have to remember that I've got all these wires coming through here. So this is so nerve-wracking, but this is all part of the installation that I'm gonna have to do. Drill the small hole, get through it, and hopefully we don't have any nicking of any wires or anything else. I've been doing a lot of praying about this, and if it goes all wrong, you'll probably never see this video on YouTube. So if you're seeing this video, we must have got things worked out okay. And just a couple more things I forgot to mention here. These just stick right onto the rooftop of the unit. They got a big sticky deal that you peel off there, and they stick right down. But just like Andrew in the Mobile Must-Have video, I know that I want to use some of this right here. We're going to put some lap sealant from Dicor down around the outside of it, just for extra protection, because I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that. Just to be sure that no water gets in. And then the other thing there, I talked about this box. This is what's going inside of it. I've got my negative and my positive, and I'm gonna end up putting ring connectors on everything that goes up here. And then I'll be able to just put the cover on and screw it down, and we're all good to go. Some of the things that are gonna get hooked up here, we've got power for, I've got a couple of USBs that are coming up here. We're going to be running USBs on both sides for our fans. We're also going to have USB power in here that I'm going to be plugging in the Levelmate. I'm going to obviously have power for the PepWave, and I've got power for a couple other things that can't come to mind right now, but there's going to be several things up here that are going to be requiring power that I'm going to mount in here. And if I ever add anything else or need power, I'll just be able to put ring connectors on, boom, right on here, and good to go. And I like that. Future projects going a lot quicker. I'm so afraid. Oh, I hope I don't hit anything. Just gonna go real easy so that I don't stab something important on the other side. Whoa. Yeah, I can't really see nothing. I'm just did a little one there I just don't want any wires tied up against that, because my theory is the wires run up here, and I'm thinking they probably come up and then go in the between the whatever you want to call this and the outside rooftop, and they probably go to the center to a channel, the center of the unit, and then run down and hit the air conditioning and all the lights and everything else. So that's my theory. I just don't know what's tight up against there. So I'm gonna do something a little weird, don't know if it's gonna work, but I've got this dealio right here, and I'm just gonna see if I can kind of shove that through, because this won't hurt wires. I can't see any wires there, so man, I know with that I didn't hurt anything if I touched it, but again, I can't see anything tight up against there. I'm going to get a hole saw and make a decent hole so I can actually see what I'm doing. I just don't want no bits tearing up wires in there. Also, since we're on the topic of holes, the installation manual for this says 22 millimeter is what you're going to want for this. So that loosely translates into a 7/8. And you can see 7/8. These would not fit. And a lot of people, I think, make a lot bigger hole. And you could use like a hole saw here, 1 1/4, but I'm gonna try on the rooftop to use the 7/8, try to feed those cables through a few at a time. You can see here, when it comes to the actual cable, you can tell that it's like more than double of the width of the cable. So this is probably good enough up there. I'd rather have a smaller hole than a bigger hole. I don't know, it just makes me feel better. But we're gonna go ahead and run the 1 1/4 through here now, and I'm probably gonna end up making a pretty decent sized hole there because like I said, I want to be able to get in here and see what's going on up above there. Oh, that is messy, but that's okay. We'll just have the maid clean that up. Oh, that is really nice. I can reach back there and feel the cables. They're actually back in the middle. They're not tucked up there. They're actually really tightly in a cluster, and we didn't poke nothing, so that's the main thing. And we got a really nice hole right there, and that's what's inside. So there's actually a hole in this material right here, and everything is going up in, and it looks like it's going this direction. So my theory was definitely correct on that. Alrighty folks, we got the hole done here and a hole in the rooftop that I did with the 7/8, which again is 22 millimeters, and that's what they recommend in the manual. You're not gonna be able to put all the ends through at once, but I'd rather keep a smaller hole up there. And the way I did it was, you could use a drill bit or anything, a long screwdriver. We used one of these doodads, the hole drill here, and just went right up, and I had her tapping on the bottom. I tried to put a hole, but there was, you know, quite a bit of wood there. So I had her tapping while I went up on the rooftop and felt where it was, and kind of I had a screwdriver handle sitting on it, and I could feel right where she was hitting, and that's where I went ahead and drilled a 7/8 inch hole through. So there's our little hole, hard to see, but going up and out at an angle, and we'll be able to feed the wires through, and then we'll be able to pull them right through as we want, and we'll have just a nice small hole inside here, so not making too much of a mess. And this is where having a wire puller is going to be really helpful, but you could use any cable or piece of wire or anything like that. All right, we're going to go ahead and send this up through the hole so that I can fish the wires down, and we'll bring them in here. All right, again, this is what you're going to get on the bottom here. There is a rubber piece that pulls out of here, as I said earlier, and you can run your wires down there, and I'm assuming maybe this comes off here. This is what you're going to get inside. You're going to have, looks like a bracket or whatnot for mounting, I'm guessing, so you got a good channel to put these wires through. And I was not kidding about the wind outside. It's like 50 miles an hour. It's almost scary to be in here, and I'm going to be up on the rooftop. So you also have a couple of these plugs right here that we're going to be using. They fit right into here, and I don't see it in this kit because I don't, maybe we didn't select it, we don't want it, but there is a magnetic option. I think magnets will screw onto here or something, and then it can slap onto like a metal rooftop. So they have several options for you. You can check it out on their website. So we're going to go up there, we're going to feed these things through, and there's quite a few of them, so I'm going to tape them up, and we're going to try to pull them through nice and gently. I don't want to bend up any of these pins. We're just going to peel this off, put these in place, stick them in. They just have sticky on both sides, and we should be good to go. And I guess this probably needs to come off here as well. So we'll get this all sorted out. So that worked perfectly. We just pulled one wire through. I did one, and then got a little debris there, but pulled one through and then gently brought the rest of them just one by one right through. So 7/8 inch hole is all you need. Keep it as small as possible. We got the bottom piece peeled off. I want to get this on really good because this technically is your seal, but I like the way that's sealing up, and you can see the hole here is not too big. This fits perfect. So again, 7/8. All right, peel this off. So we'll go and set this right down there. Doesn't matter how you position it, but for aerodynamics, it kind of makes the most sense to put it on this way. It's sealed, but I can tell you right now, this is a must. I would do it, because there is a gap right here. Alright, it's not the most perfect job, but this stuff here can be really hard to get out. I've never had good luck with it staying and keeping good after the first use, so I put it on thick, and then I'll maybe put a little more on tomorrow. You do not have to put it on that thick, but again, this stuff does not store well, so I might as well use it up. Well, I'm back. Day 2 of this project. I had to quit last night because it was getting dark, it was getting super windy, and our temp has dropped about 30 degrees from yesterday to today, so I got the big coat out here because it's cold outside. But we're back here, and I'm going to finish up mounting up my little electrical box here that I've put together. Again, I'm gonna use this just to conveniently be able to add and remove anything that I want to later on. And all I did was just ground down the tips of some wood screws, and I did that because they're gonna be going right up there, and I just being really cautious about having any sharp object sticking through where all the wires are, just in case if something blows around. Again, RVs aren't staying still. If this was a house and I was clear of the wires, I wouldn't worry about it. They're never going to move inside of a house. In an RV, everything's moving, so you want to keep that in mind. All right, well, we got that up there nice and tight. It's really good. I've got my hole drilled on the bottom, so all my wires can come right out here and go up here. And then, of course, I'm gonna bring a power lead up there, and then I'll have everything that I needed, like the level mate. All that stuff's gonna be mounted up here, and it'll be plugged in with USB power, and that way we don't have to worry about being on shore power. So got the Pep Wave right here ready to go. All the wires coming from the antenna are already on and turned nice and tight on there. I am going to go ahead and I want to mount it with this side because this has all my information that I'm going to need to set this up. I want this to be on the outside, so I did put these brackets on. I'm probably going to go ahead and go get 2 more screws and file the points off of them. I'll pre-drill 2 holes here, but I'm going to go ahead and put Velcro, some really good industrial Velcro on here, because I'm almost tempted just to do Velcro and that's it. I've got some really good strong stuff, but I want to be able to remove this if need be. Another real big benefit is the fact that you can remove it, and this is what I couldn't show yesterday because I didn't have a free hand, but these are the antennas right here, and you can put these on. Now you're going to want to keep these with the unit, because if we were to go to a hotel or we were to go anywhere where we weren't, you know, with our rig, I could actually just pull this unit off, and this is the reason why you're going to want to carry with you that adapter that it comes with for plugging into AC. But you can take that and you can put all 7 of those antennas, or really just what you need. You don't have to have all of them. If I was just wanting to use my cellular, I could pop the 2 cellulars on, or 4 cellulars or whatever, and we could use this unit anywhere we go. So that's a huge perk. That way, because this will have all of our devices will be already connecting to this, so we could just take this wherever we go. Went ahead and got the Velcro on the back here, and honestly this stuff holds super good, so it'd be fine by itself. But I went ahead and filed down 2 more wood screws, just because again I don't want to hit any wires or have anything rubbing. We're gonna just put those on for now. If I end up taking this thing off a lot, I probably won't even put the screws back in. But this thing's ready to get mounted down. They give you about 15 feet of wire, and I was gonna trim that up and have that all nice and clean, and I normally would, but I decided to just tuck it down here since I know this unit will be going to our next rig, which is gonna be a 5th wheel, more than likely. I don't know how my mounting is gonna be there, so it might be handy to have all that cable, so I just tucked it right down in there, and we'll have it for the future. So that way we don't have to splice it or anything. Oh, and it might be helpful to know too that if you get this kit with the DC power cable, you're gonna wanna put in the VCC, the red cable, and the black goes in the ground. And this piece of plastic right here does come off of there, that green adapter. So you can actually take it off, put your wires on, tighten everything down, and then put it back in and screw it down. All right, well, I've gone ahead and got my power box up there. I've got the two big 12 gauge permanent leads. They're up here and already bolted down. And then I'm gonna have all my accessories come in and go on, and I've got another nut to hold that all down. So like I said, I've got the PepWave. I have my camera system that's going in for all the security cameras that we're putting on, and then we'll have a couple USB chargers and things like that that are up here, so I can charge some of our 12-volt fans and things like that in this cabinet, as well as we're gonna have our fans in our bedroom running off a 12-volt now as well, so that we don't ever have them run out overnight. So everything is set there. I do have a bunch of wire like cable management clips coming tomorrow, so I'll be able to get all that stuff nice and tidy up in there, so that basically this cabinet will be totally unaffected. As far as all the stuff that's going in here will be basically space that we weren't using before on the sides and the top. I found the power leads that I want going down to my slide out switch, and they've got a really nice, I took off just the negative, I haven't done the positives yet, but they've got a really nice 12 gauge wire coming down, and then there's the two going to the switch. So we're gonna tie our 12 gauge for the main right on into there. And like I said, I already took my multimeter and verified all that, and we're good to go. So that'll be easy peasy, and then I'll be able to tuck all this back up here, and we'll be in business. All right, here we go. And I said my last video, if you've seen that, about the upgraded converter, we'll get to go ahead and try this out, because I've been curious to know how accurate my other gauge is. Yep, 13.6, almost 13.7, and that's what I've been kind of fluctuating on my battery gauge back there, is 13.6 to 13.7. Right now it says 13.6 as well. Well, folks, so there you have it. We've got the LevelMate Pro up here, which has been perfectly mounted right in dead center, which is what they say to do, is to put it in the middle of the unit. We've got the USB set up right here so that we can run, and the LevelMate Pro does have a battery, and it'll run for up to 2 years, they say, for average use, so that you don't have to have it plugged in. But why the heck not? You know, then I don't have to worry about that. We've also got the Blink camera system, which again I talked about. This will be a separate video, but we've got the 5 camera system. I'm gonna do 4 security cameras on the outside, 1 on each side of the unit, and then I'm going to have 1 in here that I'm going to actually mount right up here, so that we've got coverage inside. And then we've got the PepWave over here, and the box up here, which we have this cover to still go on, and the screws will hold that in, so everything will be nice and tucked in. I don't have to worry about anything getting shorted out, but all that stuff is done. All the cables, I do have some cable management clips, the ones that stick on, and the screw ones that I'm going to be running on here. So we're going to get all this stuff tied up and have it just looking amazing, so we don't have to worry about anything catching or anything like that. And once, of course, this light is on right now, but once those are closed right there, you're never going to see anything that's going on in there. That's what I love about this project, is it's all hidden away. I can also tell you the very wonderful news. I'm so excited because I went ahead and checked on my phone the PepWave, and I am getting signal in the pickup that is out in the garage. It's dark out right now, but there's the garage door closed and in the pickup, and it's much farther away than if we were hooked up to it, towing it. And we are getting 4 bars in there. I just was coming unglued. I'm so excited, because that tells me that I'm looking at a guaranteed 5 to 4, for sure 4 I'd say, but probably 5 bars of service inside the truck, which is going to be super nice when we're driving. And that's why you're going to want this to be hooked up on 12 volt. Like I said, it has the AC adapter. The camera system has an AC adapter. Everything's got AC adapters, but why do you want to be a slave to shore power? I try to think of it as when you're out boondocking, you know, especially when you don't get the campsite and you're having to boondock at a Walmart or something like that, you know, it kind of lessens the burden of not having electricity when most of your your creature comforts, your internet, your security cameras, all that stuff is running off of 12 volt and you don't have to sit and worry about it. And speaking of that, I also went ahead and set up in the bedroom here. I've got another USB that I did on the other side. That's where one of those wires was coming from. I wired up one here, and I did it for these fans, which this thing's been sitting all winter. We had it in the house, but it's totally dead. So I don't like that it died, because these things are actually pretty decent. They'll run on a medium setting, which is all I like, blowing on me at night. It'll run for like 5 hours, but it usually would shut off about, you know, I go to bed at midnight to 1 a.m. and it would shut off about 5, 6 in the morning. So it was perfect, because sometimes it'd be getting cold anyway. But let's go ahead and hit that. Trying to sneak in here. All right, let's see if this works. Oh, we got a blinking light. It's kind of tight getting in here. All right. Ooh. Yes. Works wonderful. Let's unplug it. Oh yeah, that battery is dead. Well, that's gonna be great. I got another one right here. So she has one, I have one. These were off of Amazon, and I love these fans. They got a really good battery and a magnetic mount. We just Velcro them up there. Velcro in an RV, industrial Velcro, is going to be your best friend. If you buy an RV, motorhome, don't matter. You buy something that rolls down the road, get industrial strength Velcro, buy it on Amazon or wherever. Buy a big roll, because you're going to be Velcroing everything under the sun to everywhere. It just works so nice. You don't have to drill holes. If I wanted to take this off, I could heat it up and the glue would come off. Everything is great. So we use it all the time here. But I know this video is going in so many directions, but these are all the projects. This is where we mount one of our LCD screens for when we want to work one of the monitors. But yeah, that's going to be awesome. Both fans up there, plug both of them in USB. Now we're running off of our big, beautiful battery setup instead of having to rely on those. So technically we could leave those fans on all the time, and that'll be amazing when we want to boondock, especially when it's 90. We've done that where we've been out boondocking and it's like 90 something degrees and humid, and if you don't have a fan, you're pretty SOL. So we've got more USB chargers. I'm doing a bunch down here that are going to run off the battery down on my nightstand area, so I can plug in and charge cameras and all the important stuff that we need to keep this channel rolling. So there's a lot of stuff yet to, well, not a lot. There's not a lot. There's just some stuff. I've got all these USB chargers. We got the kids' beds tore up right now. I'm going to be stealing power from a 12 volt light back there and running another setup here and having a couple USB chargers. I have an outlet that I put in last year. They just don't put enough outlets in. And so I actually threw that outlet in and tapped it off the power that's going back to the water heater area there. So basically, we're going to have 12 volt so that everybody in the unit, everybody in the camper here, here's one of the kids' fans. This one's going to get mounted pretty much up like this, and they can, everybody, all the kids, you know, 4 kids there, can have their own fan, and everybody will be running off of the big batteries plugged in with USB, so that nobody's got to worry, because some of these fans, like I said, ours are pretty amazing, and they don't sell them anymore because they would go through the night. A lot of these other ones, they only go about half the night. And this little setup here is pretty nice. It doesn't even have battery in it, which is pretty shocking because it's got a huge base. But you pay a lot more too for the batteries, and I don't think they technically last that long. So we've got lots of battery powered fans. We use them in our fridge and our freezer. Whenever we get to a campsite, we throw these little battery operated fans in the fridge and the freezer. It's a little trick to get your fridge and freezer to cool down a lot quicker. A lot of people don't know that. Faster you get that air moving, the faster things will start getting cold. So we've got fans for that. So we got fans all over the place. You gotta have a place to charge them. So you just cannot have enough USB charging in the thing. And then we've got this one down here. So I did this one 2 years ago, but I'm sure in the brand new units, They probably started putting some of these in. This is a 2016, and it's just unbelievable that it was not even thought of back then. But our converter is doing really well. I noticed it's always been charging on the regular 13.7. So, and you can check out the video that we did recently of that. But I've been watching it while we've been in here working. Of course, I am plugged in right now. It's been charging and it's been doing its thing, so can't complain. That's been working great, and we're almost getting ready to get on the road. One thing I should mention too about this LevelMate Pro that's really awesome is just how it works. And I also really am going to enjoy having this setting here that you can set for your hitch position, and basically it'll tell you when you're high enough to clear your ball on your hitch. So you just go about an inch over, and that way you know that you're always high enough to get under it. So I'll do a separate video probably about the setup of that when we go and configure that. I'll probably do a video on the Blink camera system, and I might do another follow-up video on the PepWave and as far as getting that set up. Right now I have no way to connect to it with not having the computer out here in the time, but we're gonna get all this stuff, you know, set up, and we'll do some follow-ups. But you guys can always let me know in the comment section if you have questions on any of these things. And I am so excited to finally hit the road. It's coming soon, so look forward to some of the actual travel videos and not just these project videos. But I think these are important to put on the channel because a lot of you folks are going to probably end up doing these projects, or maybe you're not aware of some of these things that are out there and you're going to want to look into doing this to your unit as well. Just thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watching it. I want to remind you to hit the like button down there if you did like this video, if you found it to be a help. Also, don't forget to subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you know when our next video goes on the channel. So as promised at the beginning of the video, we're going to give you just a little review from our experiences using the PepWave Max Transit Duo, and we bought the most expensive package from Mobile Must Have. Now, as far as the device goes, I think we both agree the device has been wonderful. The antenna has been wonderful. I know that it works good and it helps because I consistently get 1 to 2 bars and sometimes 3 bars more than I would get on my cell phone with the Verizon. We don't have AT&T phones, so I can't compare that, but I know with Verizon I do get a lot better signal, so I know that it helps. As far as it working in the truck, it's been phenomenal. It's worked really well in the truck, and when we're driving it works really good. We pick up signal. We're able to get our computers and phones on the PepWave when we're driving, and that's something that we really wanted to make sure that we could do. So that's been really, really good. As far as the Wi-Fi signal that it broadcasts, been great. It extends pretty far around our trailer. I haven't walked and seen how many sites down or anything we get. I know that it gets everything around us really nice. Everything in the trailer, truck when we're traveling, been really good. The biggest issue with not even with the device, right, yeah, has 100% been the cell phone carriers. And before you get jumping on thinking, well, my brand's better, we've tried them all. We've had a nightmare with all of them. With T-Mobile, with AT&T and Verizon. Verizon right now has been the least of the nightmare, but right now we're ironically dealing with the most trouble from them because of the prepaid, postpaid, basically the issue
with the network being congested. But today honestly it was working okay. So
but the biggest issue is they tell us that our device, our PepWave, is not compatible. They all 3 do it. Every time we go to a store, we go online and on the phone, every time we get told that device is not compatible. And yet we go online and we find out that it is, and we eventually get it to work. And I mean, maybe you want to talk about what we've done to get it to work.
Well, with AT&T we had to find a different IMEI number, that one that is with the PepWave but just a different device. And with T-Mobile, it was just, we didn't like the service. It wasn't a very
T-Mobile,
good.
we traveled from Wisconsin to Texas and over to Florida, and we got to Alabama. We dropped it because of how unbelievably slow T-Mobile was, and there was several places where it wouldn't even work. T-Mobile was really, really raunchy service.
But some people say that it works excellent. So
some people have the best luck out of T-Mobile.
Yeah, it may be device specific too. Maybe it works better with T-Mobile, works with something else.
AT&T and Verizon worked very good down here in the spring when we left for that trip last year. Now that we're down here in the winter time, it is February here of 22, and it's snowbird season. The towers are very congested, and coming across Florida, we've had very slow speeds, especially out of Verizon. AT&T has been slow but consistent and been usable. Verizon at times has been so bad that you can't even hardly connect. And the uploads are like a half a meg. And then at 3 o'clock in the morning one night, twice now, I've had 50 meg up. It's been mind-numbing how fast it can be. And you can go from 50 meg upload during the night to a half or a quarter meg during the day. We're talking about kilobits per second. It's been terrible. And again, this isn't the PepWave. This is the cell phone carriers and how congested the towers are. So do we recommend the device?
Yes.
I would say at this point you need it, because without it you are going to be having a pretty rough time. I'd say the exception would be is if you were to carry around a whole bunch of the hotspot devices that are specific to each one. They all have T-Mobile, Verizon,
MiFi or something.
MiFis and Wi-Fis, and there's all these little boxes and hotspots, and that's been our problem too, is every time we call about any kind of service or getting something set up, they always want us to use their device. And as soon as we say to give them the IMEI of our PepWave, blah, 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 it's all, that's not compatible. It is, because I know other people that are using it. So
you almost have better luck researching on your own, or just going to different forums on Facebook or different places around to get more information, and then trying to set up the service yourself online.
Yeah.
It would probably be my recommendation. I've gotten AT&T to work that way, and it looks like Verizon is also something that can be set up fairly easy online once we go from postpaid to prepaid, because they do say that it is compatible with the postpaid side as well.
Yeah, we've had to learn, and we're by all means, we're not experts. We are on the mobile must-have groups and mobile internet resource groups, and we're begging for questions, and we're also helping people out with what we've gained in knowledge. But we are very much still learning 10 months later, and it consumes so much of our time every week. And we're hoping right now, we've got AT&T working on 100 gig for half a small fortune. What is this?
It's $55 a month.
$55 a month.
It's actually pretty good.
And it was hard to get it working, but we did get it working, and we had to use a different IMEI, and just, it's been ridiculous, but we got it to work, and it's working. And as far as now, T-Mobile we're not even bothering with right now. Not to say in the future we won't pick it up again, but we're trying now to get on postpaid Verizon, because we're on prepaid Verizon and we are getting throttled terribly because they put you on the back burner, as I was talking about before, for service. They stick you at the bottom of the pole, and you're when it's busy during the day, you're getting nothing.
Unusable almost.
Unusable.
Yeah,
so you have 150 gigs for $70, or we pay a little less, I don't know. It does. We got 150 gigs, but during the day you cannot get anything for that. So hopefully we're going to be able to get the postpaid working soon, and that'll give us 250 gigs a month. We are still trying to use the campground Wi-Fi when we can. The one thing I'll say about that is the contact portal that you get from a lot of campgrounds can cause a lot of issue with getting the Wi-Fi in the campgrounds to work. If you ever gone to a hotel and you've jumped on their internet, it'll be like a splash page that pops up that will say, you know, abide to our rules and whatever, and if you do hit continue or put in a password. And I've run into several times where it's been really hard to get that to pop up, but I found if you can connect your laptop or something like that, if you bookmark that, if you can get it to pop up, bookmark it, because chances are many times throughout your stay, you're going to get that, or you're going to get the internet not working, and you're going to need to go back to that contact portal and hit continue again. Currently, where we're staying here at this campground in Florida, I'm having to do that several times a day, and that little hack has really been a lifesaver, because as soon as the campground internet's not working, I usually can just hit that in my bookmark on my favorites, and it works. It's been good. It's been a little way to get around it.
I'd say that it's a good investment to have for the RV, but just expect some issues with the connectivity with the cell SIM cards for now, until it'll be more mainstream one day, but for right now, there is some issues that you run across, and there's a lot of helpful people out there to try to get that information and help you out and get you on your way.
So we paid $1,200 for the package we have, and we're still learning. We're still trying to get it sorted out. And what our hope in the future is that Starlink and Elon save the day, and that we can get on Starlink, and in the back of the PepWave, or in the bottom in our case, there is a spot to plug in wired internet. And my plan is to get the Starlink and have that going into there, and we're probably going to hang on to the AT&T since we've already got Verizon on our phones, and we'll keep the AT&T so that if Starlink ever dropped out, or if we're in motion traveling and we don't want to have our dish out or something like that, that we're able to keep the internet rolling, that there are no drops. And of course, if Starlink ends up with the deal that sits on the roof of the RV, that is supposed to eventually be a thing, and it's going to work when you're in motion. That'll just be added bonus. But right now, Starlink is having slight issues because they're still putting up satellites where they'll drop a few times a day. I don't think it's for very long, but it could definitely disconnect you if it's important for you, like on a Zoom call, to stay connected. You're still going to want to have a cell service there on backup. So that's our goal, is get Starlink. Keep this PepWave is going to still be very useful, because we're going to keep at least one carrier on it. I'm thinking again AT&T, and we're going to see where the future goes from there. Well, anyway, I know that was a little bit longer of a video. That is going to wrap up all of our project videos, and the next one on the channel is Season 1, Episode 1, when we started out getting everything ready to go and got on the road for our big trip last year in April 2021. It was in the middle of April we left, and we were gone for 6 weeks. So we hope that you enjoyed this video, found it informative. You can check out all of our links down below. Feel free to hit us up if you are looking at getting one of these. We could talk your ear off about it. And we have a Discord. We would not mind jumping on there and answering some questions, or through email. So hit us up in those links down below. So until next time, take care.